Hey guys, welcome back to my Rogue PvP guide, part 2. Today we're going to be talking about talents. And the objective of this video is not to introduce you to like a new talent build, but rather to take an existing talent build like the popular ones and tell you how you can tweak the build depending on what kind of PvP you were doing. So in front of us, we'll start with Hemo, Cold Blood Hemo spec. And this is a pretty standard Hemo spec. The, opportunity for switching things out. You can remove a point from camouflage and put it in Ghostly Strike. You'll see a lot of people do this. Ghostly Strike is good because against like enhancement shamans and paladins, and even like elemental shamans that try and auto attack you as they're kiting and casting totems and stuff, it can be pretty handy. And obviously, it does more damage than Hemo, but it also costs more energy. So the extra dodge is going to be pretty important in whether or not you want to actually take this ability, because even though, like I said, it does do more damage than Hemo, it's more energy, so it is going to be a bigger burst. So like if the opponent is low on life and you have 40 energy and you press Ghostly Strike, it's going to be obviously more damage than Hemorrhage. The crits are going to be bigger, and it could be more an option that you just press, like, okay, they're low on life, press the harder hitting ability, and that could be the difference between getting a kill and not getting a kill. So personally, I like Ghostly Strike. I use it in my Hemo builds, but some builds do not opt for it. We also have, so that's really the majority of the flexibility in the subtree. You're going to take most of these talents if you are going, pretty much all of them. If you are going Hemo, you have to take Serrated Blades. Improved Sap's really good. Initiative is really good. Elusiveness is really good. And Master Deception is like your only option. So obviously Heightened Senses, Dirty Deeds, Prep, Hemo, these are all like essential. So there's really not a lot of flexibility in the subtree for the Hemo build. Now in combat, you actually do have a couple options. You definitely are getting Improved Gouge, but if you did want to go a non-Hemo Cold Blood build, you could go down combat. You could get, Riposte, Improved Sprint, Improved Kick. Overall, I think it's going to be, significantly weaker than just Hemo Cold Blood, because like the staple of the Hemo Cold Blood is you build a lot of combo points quickly, and then you have a big Cold Blood Eviscerate to finish them off. So if you don't play Cold Blood, you're not going to be as scary. You're not going to have the burst. But if for whatever reason you did want to go down a lot of points in combat, you're definitely going to have more utility. You're going to be able to silence with your kick and disarm people and break out of roots. But overall, I do not think going deep down combat is very good. But I want to mention it that you can do it if you would like, to go for Improved Kick and Improved Sprint and Riposte. So those are the reasons you would want to do it. Now over to the Assassination Talents that you can move around. So this, for the Hemo build, this is where you actually have a lot of choices. So you can swap between Ruthlessness, Murder, Exposed Armor, Improved Poisons. So you can switch any of these out. And you can even go for Improved Kidney Shot if you are doing pre-made Warsong Gulch. This is a very narrow talent. I want to stress that if you get Improved Kidney Shot, you better be in a pretty serious Warsong Gulch pre-made with good communication, where you're going to be kidney shotting like the flag carrier and everyone's going to be bursting. Because basically there's some decent talents that you are going to, like for example, in order to take Improved Kidney Shot, you're going to have to remove points from Heightened Senses and put them into Improved Kidney Shot. And if you want 3 out of 3, you got to take the points from somewhere. Do you want to reduce your gouge? That's a pretty huge cost. Do you want to take a point out of Improved Sap or Dirty Deeds? I don't know about that, right? So if you are going to play Improved Kidney Shot, you need to be in a very good pre-made and very confident that every time you press Kidney Shot, that you're actually going to get a lot of use out of this talent. And obviously, if the enemy presses Trinket, this is not really going to do anything. So just keep that in mind now that everyone has Trinket except for rogue and warlock, at least a trinket that removes kidney. You know, this talent I feel is very, very narrow. So just I want to. A lot of people mention, oh, it's great for Warsong Gulch. I just want to keep in mind that it is a very narrow talent, and make sure you know what you're getting into if you take it. Now back to the differences here. I guess now is a good time to show you a PS Heroes build. So you can see the previous build had 3 in Ruthlessness and 1 in Exposed Armor. This build goes for 4 improved poisons. So PS Hero likes the increased chance to apply crippling poison. So this is where you can go for some variety. And it's just up to you to decide whether you want to make sure that crippling poison is applied, or if you want to go for the Ruthlessness. Now, Ruthlessness is going to be better in duels and long 1v1s, long engagements. Ruthlessness is going to be really good because you're going to get more and more combo points throughout the duel. And whereas improved poisons is going to be kind of just going to be there for really good for kiting, really good against like warriors where it's really important you apply your poisons, really good against anyone running away. So again, back to Warsong Gulch, if we have like a flag carrier running away, right? Every time you proc your poison, they're going to have to like switch forms to try and, get out of the poison. So really, really good talent. But I'd say the worst of these 3 is usually going to be Exposed Armor. The point in improved Exposed Armor is pretty narrow. A lot of times you can use it in duels, but that's really the most common situation. In World PvP, you're not going to be Exposed Armoring that much. If you do have leftover talent combo points while you're doing like a reset, you can Expose Armor, but I'd say this is the weakest of the flex talents. Now you can take stuff out of murder. You can, if you want a meme, you could go with remorseless attacks. Really more of a dagger talent. I guess we'll cover that in the next one, but like this is not really a good talent. So this is pretty much it for the assassination for the hemo spec. That's pretty much all that you can flex around. Next we have daggers. So there's 2 main builds. There's a build that goes sprint, improve sprint. There's a build that doesn't. So I've been using this one a lot lately. I've been doing a lot of dueling. I think the improved sprint build is very good for dueling. And the reason is, number 1, improved sprint is good against mages, druids, hunters, and it's going to be just really good in duels because a lot of times there's downtime between duels, so your sprint is going to be up a lot. And pretty much the biggest problem with improved sprint is you're not going to have endurance. So in most situations, your sprint is on a 5-minute cooldown, and that combined with prep, right, you're only going to get 3 sprints every 10 minutes. That's really not a lot. So if you're in like a battleground, you're not going to get that many uses out of improved sprint, and it's really not the greatest. But when you're dueling and there's a lot of downtime in between duels, or you're doing world PvP, so you might not be regularly stumbling upon people, improved sprint is really, really good. And especially against like a druid or something where like if you get rooted and you're stuck in the root, you're going to be in trouble. And they have a lot of ways to root you. And if they use their Nature's Grasp, unless you kill them really, really fast, chances are they're going to have an opportunity to press it a second time throughout the duel. And if you vanish the first one, you're going to need an option for the second one. And, prep isn't always going to be available. So just keep in mind that while improved sprint is really, really good, it's mainly going to be helpful in world PvP and dueling. Now, the other things that you can flex in the dagger build, you can go with Serrated Blades. Now, I guess at this point, I can show you the Pious hero build. So this one is more focused on battlegrounds. It does not go improved sprint, and it puts points in Serrated Blades. Now, if you, the objective with Serrated Blades is it removes 300 armor from the target, and removing armor is really good against clothies. And in battlegrounds, a lot of the time you're going to be attacking clothies. So that is the purpose for this talent. It's mainly a battleground talent. It's not terrible in dueling. You're going to be rupturing warriors, and it's obviously going to add a lot of damage against warlocks and mages. But keep in mind that the armor reducing target's armor doesn't really do a whole lot unless they're already low on armor. So basically how armor works, the more armor you have, the worse it gets. So if you're removing armor from a high armor target, it's really not that big of a deal. If you remove it from a low armor target, it's a pretty big deal. It's going to be a big boost to damage. So this talent, really just good against warlocks, mages, and fighting clothies and battlegrounds. So a pretty narrow talent, but if that's what you're doing, you can go for Serrated Blades. Now the other options that you have, you can put more points into camouflage if you want. It's not, you don't really notice it too much, but just moving around faster in stealth is kind of nice. You just have to ask yourself, is it better than elusiveness? Probably not. Is it better than initiative or improved ambush? Probably not. So, any of these talents? Probably not. So that's why it's a talent that you would put in at the very end. You also have Master of Deception. You could put points in that if you're not going improved sprint and you didn't want Serrated Blades. So that's a good option as well. I tend to like going for improved sprint if I am not interested in Serrated Blades, because I really don't feel like camo or Master of Deception are really too crazy, too powerful. So when I'm deciding what build I want to go for, I'm usually saying, all right, do I want Serrated Blades? Do I want to have the bonus armor pen? If I do, then I'm not going to be going for improved sprint, and I'm going to be, using a build like this. But if I do decide that I don't really want Serrated Blades, I usually go with improved sprint. Now the other talents that you can switch are over in Assassination. And the biggest one is going to be Ruthlessness and improved Eviscerate. Now if you're doing battlegrounds, like this is the PS Hero battleground build, you're going to be eviscerating a lot more in battlegrounds than in duels and in 1v1s and world PvP. Most of the time when you were playing Daggers, you were going to be using your combo points for Kidney Shot unless you're finishing someone off in a battleground. But if you're playing a battleground build, improved Eviscerate is going to be really, really good. So a lot of times I do not take this talent and I go for Ruthlessness instead. So I usually play like this sprint dagger build. So I do not take improved Eviscerate and I do not take Serrated Blades. And this is usually what I will use for PvP. Now, the last thing I do want to mention, so first of all, Expose Armor, you're not going to use this one quite as much. The reason is if you're against like a Clothy that you would potentially want to sap a bunch and Expose Armor as your opener, a lot of times you're going to want to just ambush them instead. So you really don't build as many combo points. You don't have as many extra laying around. And even if you were to like do an opener where you just want to expose armor the enemy, if they're wearing gear, like if they're a Clothy that you want to expose armor them, you also want to ambush them. And it's pretty difficult to do both unless you have like all day. So just keep in mind that usually you don't take improved expose armor in dagger builds as much. And also, I guess the last thing to mention is Heightened Senses. While it's really, really good, if you are playing the improved sprint build, you can see this is a big cost to the improved sprint build. 3 out of 5 lethality. If you play sprint daggers, this is where you're making your decision. If you pick improved sprint, you either are going 3 out of 5 lethality or 0 Heightened Senses. So this is the major cost to improve sprint. This is where you have to make your decision. Do you want to play without 5 out of 5 lethality and 2 out of 2 Heightened Senses? Because one has to go. And that is the major cost to improve sprint. So you better have a reason why you want to have improved sprint, because otherwise you're going to be missing out on like a really good talent. So by default, I think it actually would make sense to go with a talent build similar to this. You can reallocate the Serrated Blades to like Master Deception if you want. But I think something like this would be really good. You could swap out the Eviscerate to Ruthlessness if you're not, purely playing Battlegrounds. But I think this is like a good starting point to tweak. But if you do want the improved sprint, it is very good. It's just you're going to have to pay a price in either lethality or Heightened Senses. And again, it only does something like 3 times every 10 minutes. So not always going to be super helpful. But that's pretty much everything. I think I covered every talent. If I missed anything, leave a comment below, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about talent.